Hey everyone, this is a video on navigation stationery that I promised I would do when I did my stationery series. These are some of the instruments that I like for navigation purposes, and to drawing on maps and to plotting routes and doing time, distance and speed calculations and sort of route planning. And I always find that it's a topic that is always overlooked. Now maybe I'm being a little bit pedantic because of my background in engineering and science, and paying a lot of attention to the very small details, and having to in the past plan expeditions for scientists and engineers going out into the field. I always end up having to use a lot of stationery because we always like to have everything down on paper, as well as on the GPS and the computers and the laptops and the iClouds and all that stuff. But it doesn't matter how many spare satellite phones and satellite broadband systems that you have with you in the field, something always goes wrong. And if you can't access that remotely, then you need something tangible in your hand on paper. So I always advocate people going out on expeditions and into the field to have a plan, a full detailed route plan on paper, and that way if something does go wrong, if there is a major, even a missed cell phone call can sometimes, depending on the type of expedition you're going and your experience, and hopefully the one thing that I would definitely recommend is there's a lot of people that that sometimes bravado comes into it, but I highly recommend that whenever you go, you have someone who is expecting your phone call or a text message, or someone who knows your route that you'll be taking on your expedition, so that they can check in on you, just in case something happens. Something might not happen in terms of, like, you might not do something, but Mother Nature might do something, or there might be a criminal act, or that you might happen upon something that you may need to assist in, but that also pulls you away from your own expedition. So that could also start to, a lot of complications and mixed messages, misinformation. So make sure that you have a communications platform, and it's also really helpful, especially when you're tired and stressed on an expedition, to have something down on paper as a checklist. Now, the second thing I wanted to say is there is a book that I would like to recommend, and this is the Ultimate Navigation Manual by Lyle Brotherton. He is a phenomenal guy. I've never had the opportunity to meet him, but I've watched a couple of his videos and I've read this book, and I've also read some of his other texts, articles he's written, and so on. He is a really detail-oriented person on navigation. He is very much an expert, a specialist navigator. I prefer the word specialist. He is very much a specialist navigator, and the way he has written this book, you could give this book to any child who has a good understanding of reading, 10, 11, 12-year-old, and they will understand the basics of navigation. There will be some aspects that you will need to teach them, but it is that very well written. And the other thing that I really liked about this book is that he has even addressed, although just on one page, but he has still addressed the aspect of navigation stationery and plotting things down. And I'll just go quickly. As you see, position marking, and he's even spoken about stationery, what type of stationery is good. Surprisingly, I already actually used that stationery, so I was really quite pleased to see that stationery being mentioned by him. I will put his videos for you down below, and I will also put some other information about him and the things he does and so on. I think he also... So I'm just going to try and put the light on. I think he also has a website, which I will also try and link down below. Okay, if you're interested, the ISBN number, I will try and see if it focuses. Although because there's been a change in the lighting, there we go, there's the ISBN number. You can look that up on Amazon. Okay, so navigation stationery, a couple of things. First of all, I always use this. This is the Gerber Recon flashlight. I absolutely love this. I've shown you this in all other reviews. And then I always have a backup mini navigation kit. In here I have a silver Ranger compass. I have 4 green snapsticks, 2 red snapsticks, a red and green silk ribbon those can be used for measuring distances on maps or creating map models. And there is also a white tritium light that I have on the inside of this Ranger compass. So this is my backup to my other Sunto and my GPS compasses. Other thing that I would recommend is always to have some A5 paper with you. This is perfect for making small checklists, making your own route planning stuff, and a calculator. A calculator, again, doesn't matter how good your maths is, sometimes just, sometimes when you are that physically fatigued, it's just easy to double check things. Although I'm sure your mental arithmetic is very, very good. If you're going to be, doing any type of kayaking, or if you're going to be, if part of your expedition is part on using a transport method such as a boat or a small light aircraft, you might, obviously, I don't know if you're going to be flying yourself or not, or if you're going to be navigating yourself, but you might be expecting a supply drop, and there are some roamers that pilots use. This is the flight computer, so it's always nice to be accustomed with these. This is for kayaking. This is for sailing. Speed distance time calculator for being on the sea, and this is for pilots. So it's nice to be accustomed to these systems, because they will be using them on the sea or in the air, and if you're expecting a drop, then you can calculate their speed distance and time and do calculations yourself mixed with your land-based calculations. So stationery, I'll try and do this really quickly. And if you would like me to go into depth on any item of stationery or any item that I've discussed here, please feel free to leave me a comment, and I will try my best to answer you back as soon as possible with a video review. Okay, so first of all, a lot of stationery in here is by Staedtler. The reason being that the Staedtler is a very, very good trusted brand, and they make stationery of exceptional high quality, which has been used in the field by myself and by other specialist navigators and expedition guides and leaders and expedition people. So I absolutely trust that. So there's two things in here. One is permanent and one is non-permanent. So you make your own decision of which type you want to use and the different type of elements that you might be in. I personally like the non-permanent ones because they can be erased off. But if you need to use permanent for any reason, then go ahead and you can use that, and I will do the recommendations here. Okay, so first of all, we'll start with the marker pens. I have they are also color coded. So let's have a quick look. The clear ones are non-permanent. So I have black, red, green, blue, non-permanent. I then have the permanent ones, which are in black, a black body. Okay, so these are the permanent markers, and I prefer the ones with the small s. And that's the small nib because it's much easier to make fine writing. This writes to a 0.3. Sorry, trying to focus that. This writes to a 0.3, 0.4 type of line width on a piece of paper. So I really like the S or the fine nibs. I then have Chinagraph pencils, or they're often known as wax pencils or grease pencils. These are really perfect if you don't want to use pens. Again, they have a different variety in them too. These are again the black ones. Now obviously this is a pencil, but the type of wax used in these is a bit more abrasion resistant and water resistant. And obviously it's very smudge resistant as well, so that's why they're called permanent pencils. Obviously they can be rubbed off with a good eraser, but they do take a bit of manual effort. These are, let me see, there we go. These are the Staedtler Lumocolor permanent pencils, and they all have an article number, which, being German, is so the final number on here. Let's see, the article number for these is 108, and then space 20 and then dash 9. So 9 is for the black color. For the blue, the 9 becomes a 3. 3 represents blue. 5 is for the green. This one is red. The red number is 2. For yellow, it is 1, and for white, it is 0. So, and again, with the Staedtler ones, the permanent markers, they have an article number which is 3 dash and then the number of the color. And same with the non-permanent ones, they have one which is 311 dash and then the color number. I also have the non-permanent ones, and these are very light. They aren't very smudge proof. They're obviously not very water resistant. They do come off. You can just rub them off with your thumb, your skin, or you can use a rubber if you wish. But they are also very good for quick calculations on things if you need to make them. Their article number is 768N, N for November, dash, and then the color number. For red it's 2. For black it is 9. For white it is 0, and for yellow it is 1. Again, the same numbering system, and being a German firm, they are quite very logical. Then one of the things, when I made some videos on fountain pens, one of my friends requesting about left-handed fountain pens. Now, obviously these aren't fountain pens. These are 0.2 writing pens, and they are actually using naval navigation to update naval maps for notice to mariners. But these are acid-free, archive quality pigment ink. They are smudge proof. They're photo safe. They're smudge proof. Also, they dry almost instantly. I am actually ambidextrous, but I have a problem with my left thumb now, so I can't really write. But with my left hand, but I can still write, but it's not very neat. When I write with these, there is absolutely no smudge at all. So if you are left-handed, and again, you can get, this is 0.2 for naval navigation, but you can also get 0.5, 0.7, whatever you wish. So if you are prone to smudging things, again, these are waterproof. They can write anywhere, even on wet paper. So they can write on wet paper, and they don't. They don't feather. The ink stays as it is, and I'll do a couple of tests if you want. I've done them in the past, but if you would want me to do a detailed review of anything here, I will be happy to do that. But I highly recommend these pens. Pencils, I have a number of pencils in here. Obviously you don't have to have all of them. This is a 5B, a 2H. I also have a 2B in here. All the lead in here is 2B, so I have 0.7, 0.3, 0.9 and 0.5 2B lead. In the Staedtler ones, which is 0.5mm and 0.7mm, I have red and green, I think. Red and green. Yeah, I have red and green lead, so it's colouring lead, red and green, and that allows me to just highlight things on paper or any other type of map, because not everything is on a laminated map. So the red and green coloured lead is really helpful for making adjustments. If you want to know about standard pens, if you don't want to buy Write in the Rain, you can get these. These I highly recommend. These are by Uniball. Uniball, Uni Power Tank 1.0. I've not seen these in any other thickness, but the 1.0 works very well. Sharpies, Staedtler rubber, and this is a Staedtler eraser, and the article number for this is 526-61. This can rub ink off absolutely anything, and you can just brush it away with the brush, or you can get a rubber which has a blue grit rubber, and this is to rub off ink, and the white side is just standard colours. I have also done a review of different highlighters and inks, and I found that there is quite a correlation of which is easier to use, and if you would like, I will do an in-depth review on this. Actually, I will do a separate video on this one. So this was just a quick introduction. I know it was a bit hurried, but I wanted to do an overall broad range introduction. So if you want me to make a detailed review of anything, please feel free to say so, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the other video. Bye!